water, unique in every way.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Accra. My name is Adeona Adeona. Coming up this afternoon, London-based firm Fitch Solutions predicts victory for the opposition National Democratic Congress in the December general elections. But the governing New Patriotic Party disagrees with this prediction.
Fitch is not cast in stone or the finality in terms of research work. However, as a party, we welcome their report and we will look at what contains in the report and what informed their decision to have given an NDC such a high percentage that they have never gotten in history.
Also coming up, Auditor General indicts officials of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program LEAP for risking sustainability of the program as it expends over 15 million cedis running it. Now, still in the bulletin, WA Central MP Rashid PPO blames inadequate security measures for WA killings as he calls on authorities to be proactive and arrest perpetrators.
There is calm for now. Small food immigration.
And later, suspected mentally unstable man kills cattle header at Alabota in the Northern district of the Volta region, splitting his head into two. We hear from local authorities in the area who say the suspect is now in the grips of police.
He has killed the animal and then he started inflicting cutlass wounds.
Please stay with us for details of these and more stories coming your way in the next half hour. Remember, this bulletin is live around the globe on CitiNewsroom.com, on YouTube and on Facebook. You can find us on Citi 97.3 FM. Across the country, we are live on a number of affiliates. If you are in the Western region, this is Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Sky Power 93.5 FM in Takrade, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade. In the Bono region, this is Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi. Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. If you're in the Volta region, this is Revival 99.3 FM in Tajewu, VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohoi, Northern Region Radio Bimbala 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, this is Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. And in the Upper West region, this is Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Japa 96.1 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We are grateful you could join us this afternoon. Let's begin the bulletin in politics. And the governing New Patriotic Party, the NPP, has rejected the report by Fitch Solutions predicting a likely win for the opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC. Now, the London-based firm, which has been consistent with its forecast since last year, argues that 54% of respondents surveyed tipped former President John Mahama as the winner in the upcoming presidential election. Fitch Solutions, in its mid-year review for Sub-Saharan Africa, explained that the current state of the economy will play a significant role in the choice of voters on December 7. Now, reacting to this latest report in a Citi News interview, the New Patriotic Party stated that while it disagrees with the latest report, it will review the findings closely to determine its next steps as the general elections approach in 5 months. Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary of the party.
I've just seen a report from Fitch indicating that they are putting John Mahama ahead of us, and this is not the first research findings that we have seen. We have seen several other research reports that have pointed to the fact that Dr. Bawumia is in the lead in terms of winning these elections. This is not cast in stone or the finality in terms of research work. However, as a party, we welcome their report and we will look at what contains in the report and what informed their decision to have given an NDC such a high percentage that they have never gotten in history. I've read that they are citing two issues. One is on job creation, and the other is on economic management. And when I look at it, it tells me that these are factors that are not very stable, and we believe that the economic conditions are going to change. But when it comes to economic management, the MPP has a superior record in terms of economic management. The report of Fitch is something that the party will also look at. But what we want the people of Ghana to know is that their report and their predictions is not cast in stone.
Adeona Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Let's stay on reports, this time with the Afro Barometer, because findings from the flagship report on democratic trends in Africa reveal that most young people are not satisfied with democratic governance in their countries. The report, which was conducted across 39 countries in Africa, showed that the youth were currently facing a disillusionment with democracy, with the youth per the survey falling between least rejectors of military rule and least preference of democratic rule. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the Afro Barometer flagship report on democracy, Director of Surveys at Afro Barometer, Boniface Dulani, explained that most young people were tilted towards this view as a temporary solution to the failure of civilian government. He says this issue raises much concern since most young people in this generation have not lived under military rule, hence they are unaware of the associated dangers.
It shows the high levels of disillusionment with democracy. But at the same time, most of the youth have never experienced military rule. So they might be looking at military rule and say, okay, democracy is failing, let's try military rule. But if you've lived through a military regime, you might know that, okay, as bad as democracy is, it's certainly better than those kind of governments. So we are seeing really a generational issue here, where a generation that has never experienced it, they might think, maybe this is something worth trying. So the youth, and indeed many citizens, because you see that about 53% of African citizens are telling us that if governments are failing, ignoring the law, abusing office, then the military should step in to clear that and they clean that up. But at the same time, you see that the same results are showing that many people are still rejecting military rule, even though the numbers have been declining, but we still see about 2/3 of the citizens on this continent saying we don't want military rule. So what this tells us is that the military rule is being looked at as an option to clean up the mess when the civilian leaders have failed or indeed are blatantly ignoring the law, breaking the law and the constitutions. Then they're looking at the military as a temporary solution, not a permanent solution.
You heard the Director of Surveys at Afro Barometer, Boniface Dulani. Well, now a development economist and research fellow at the Legon Center for Social Policy Studies, Dr. George Domfe, is warning that Ghana's economy will continue to stagnate if political parties are not made to adopt the National Development Agenda. At a meeting with members of the National Development Planning Commission yesterday, President Akufo-Addo opposed calls for political parties to abandon the manifesto system and rather adopt a National Development Plan. While speaking to Citi News, Dr. George Domfe, who doubles as one of the consultants for the creation of the NDPC's Vision 2057, says Ghana can only progress if political parties are made to adopt the plans in Vision 2057.
What we are likely to see is what we've been experiencing in the past, where Party A comes, they do what pleases them, Party B comes, they do what pleases them, and in the process we are stagnating. The economy doesn't create jobs, and there's always hardship, and our youth are always running away through the desert to get to Europe. And so if we want to be where we have been, then we should continue to do what is pleasing to our political parties. Because you cannot do the same thing every day and expect new results. Now, if we want new results, you do new things. And the new things are that the National Development Agenda that is seeking to get us where, and it is feasible if you look at the terms and conditions that we set for all the variables, they are very achievable. We have the medium term, we have the short term, medium term, and the long term. And so by 2050, 57, if you're able to do what is right in the short term, we will get to the medium term projections, do very well there, and by 2050, people will run from Europe to this country. That's what Ghana that we are looking for.
You heard Dr. George Donfa. He's a research fellow at the Legon Center for Social Policy Studies, also a development economist. Away from that, a member of parliament for Wa Central, Dr. Rashid PPO, has criticized the Akufo-Addo government for its silence on the serial killings in Wa in the Upper West region. Residents of the area have threatened to bar politicians from campaigning in the area if the government fails to take decisive action to stop the killings after several years of no arrest. In an interview on the City Breakfast Show on Citi FM, Dr. Rashid PPO expressed his disappointment and frustration with all authorities, including the president, over their perceived lack of concern.
I can tell you there's no assurance at all. The Interior Minister, who was also from the region, did not give us any concrete assurance. The new Interior Minister has not given us any concrete assurance. The government has not made any announcement or shown any concern. The president has said nothing. It does seem like it's a normal occurrence that happened. This whole thing started from Tachiman, moved to Wa, went to Bole, came back to Wa. No pronouncement has been made as to how we can tackle this situation. It does look like, well, it is your concern, handle it, but our police are around. That's the impression I'm getting. But there must be a pronouncement by the Interior Minister right now. There must be a pronouncement by the President, show of concern by the President or his Vice President. None of it is happening. And I think that that's the nature of the government we are seeing now. Remember the 8 people killed in in Tachiman. So now no government, no powerful statement is made at the presidency.
That was the Member of Parliament for Wa Central, Dr. Rashid PPO. Let's stay on security now, because police in the Northern District of the Volta region have arrested a man who allegedly killed a header in Alabota near Dofo. According to Chair Jupiter Azieto, the assemblyman for the area, the suspect, identified as Selassie Doche, inflicted multiple machete wounds on the header for confronting him over the death of his cattle. Now, Mr. Doche was arrested after community members fished him out from his hideout. Speaking to City News, Assemblyman said the suspect is known to be mentally unstable.
This morning around 11 a.m., I received a call from one of the elders at Alabota that a Fulani man was murdered at Alabota. So I rushed to the scene and I inquired more about the murderer. So they said the murderer, whom I know very well. So according to sources, the father was asking the suspect why he has killed the animal. And then he started inflicting cutlass wound on the poor animal. So the son has to run to the house and go and call people. Before they came back, he killed a man. And then he removed part of his head. We reported the case to the police, and the police came around to make a search. We searched the whole vicinity, but the police took the body to the morgue for further investigation. Because I heard about 3 different stories about him, including attacking his own senior brother.
That was the assemblyman for Alabota in the Northern District of the Volta region, Che Jupiter Azieto. Now, members of the Rotational Nurses and Midwifes Association are threatening to picket at the Health Ministry due to the ministry's failure to address their concerns, which include a 12-month delay in payment and lack of employment clearance. They had previously expressed their grievances, including staging protests and petitioning the ministry on April 16 to push for their demands. Despite these actions, the association claims that the government has not taken any corrective measures. Additionally, the Rotational Nurses and Midwives said the current economic situation in the country is exacerbating the difficulties they face and are therefore calling for immediate government intervention. Jasper Joka is the Public Relations Officer for the Board of Trustees for the Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association.
These are not monies we are begging for. These are monies that are due us. Most of our people are dying. Just recently, about a month or two ago. We lost one of our colleagues, Kolebu, because she couldn't afford medical bills. It's pathetic. Even if you are a rotationist, you are a service person, and you are sick, even in the facility where you are working, there is no medical cover for you. Our demand is that we need our financial clearance as soon as possible for us to be paid, because 12 months unpaid allowance, we have completed and we are home. Our seniors are home, our seniors are home. We are joining the third batch at home, and being at home without our allowance, we've toiled, we've sacrificed for this country, working on empty stomach. We bled. Most of our members have attracted stomach ulcers, okay, out of the service we are rendering to the nation. I would say this is wickedness at the peak. Is it dialoguing? What is it? Even demonstrating, we have demonstrated. So if this is not wickedness, how would you describe this one? We are saying that if money is not paid to us, we would come out and picket massively. Like how our pensioners picketed at the Ministry of Finance till they heard something. We will also keep doing that.
You heard Jasper Joka. He speaks for the Board of Trustees of the Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. When we return, Auditor General indict officials of LEAP for risking the sustainability of the program. We'll bring you details of that and other stories shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
The entries have been received and the marking has begun. Who makes it to the next round of the Literacy Challenge 2024? Randomly selected entries will be read on 97.3 Citi FM on Brunch in the City and the Traffic Avenue, and on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV. Stay tuned to 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 TV to find out who makes it to Level 2 of the Literacy Challenge. Level 2, Aptitude Test. The top 50 contestants from across Ghana to make it to the next round shall take part in a written aptitude test on Saturday, 27th July 2024 at 12 p.m. at the Accra Digital Center. Grand finale. The top 10 contestants chosen from Level 2 shall compete for the grand prize of 10,000 Ghana cedis in a classic quiz competition on Saturday, 17th August 2024. The Literacy Challenge 2024 is powered by Citi FM, supported by Channel 1 TV, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company, Alive Soap. Feel fresh, feel alive. From the House of Wilmer Africa Limited, Fortune Spread for Bread, yummy, delicious, always on point. Another quality product from Wilmer Africa Limited. Ruby Biscuits by M4 Foods and Prospectus Ghana Limited.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD+ boxes. Channel 1 TV. Telling your story, empowering change.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's do some other stories this afternoon. The Auditor General says the management of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP Secretariat was not forthcoming in providing financial information to assess monies it expended. This assertion stems from the latest performance audit report of the Auditor General on management of LEAP carried out from February to October 2022. The report states that the Secretariat failed to exit beneficiaries even when their socio-economic status had improved, leading to payment of over 300,000 cedis to beneficiaries who no longer qualified to be on the program. We have highlights from the report and was read to you by Zoya Bubedu-Ado.
The Livelihood Empowerment Program Against Poverty targets vulnerable people such as orphaned and vulnerable children, breastfeeding mothers, old people and people with severe disabilities by providing bi-monthly cash payments to eligible households in various districts across the country. To ensure that the program is sustained, it is designed to be reassessed every 4 years to justify if a beneficiary should still be on the program. However, 14 years after this social intervention program was created, beneficiaries have not been reassessed to determine whether they still fall within the eligible criteria to stay on the program or be removed. The audit was carried out from February to October 2022 at the LEAP Management Secretariat and 5 districts of 3 regions from 2017 to 2022. The team found that the Secretariat paid cash grants to caregivers of deceased beneficiaries in one-member households, resulting in payments to 44 deceased beneficiaries amounting to 84,480 cedis. The district social welfare officers and community focal persons did not pay regular visits to the beneficiaries to determine whether the beneficiaries had died. This lack of monitoring allowed some secondary caregivers to continue collecting funds on behalf of the dead. The head of the Secretariat gave the assurance that henceforth he will ensure that payment is made only to persons who meet the eligible criteria. The Secretariat, according to the report, did not adhere to fund utilization guidelines, thus expending more funds on running the program than allowed, resulting in excess spending of 15.3 million cedis, risking the sustainability of the program. The report notes that the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection did not keep appropriate records on funds expended. To improve activities of the LEAP Secretariat, some recommendations were made that the LMS should adhere to the LEAP fund utilization guidelines during program implementation, and that all the accountants on the LEAP program maintain records and report on quarterly basis to the Chief Director on all financial information related to cash grants and administrative costs relevant to the LEAP program. Management, in their response to this finding, failed to address issues raised on the cost details on the monitoring, capacity building, cash grants, payment charges and fees relating to the Ministry, Secretariat, Social Protection Department and the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems Limited. The report concluded that the Secretariat was complicit in applying the rules governing the LEAP program. They also did not ensure that people whose names should not be in the register were expunged. Neither did they ensure that beneficiaries who have improved on their status upon joining LEAP were graduated or exited.
Zoe Abubaidu Ado with excerpts of the audit report of the Auditor General on management of LEAP carried out from February to October 2022. Away from that now, the Ministry of Roads and Highways says the Akufo-Addo administration has invested more in road construction than the previous government. According to the ministry's data, between 2009 and 2016, 4,636 kilometers of roads were added to the network, whereas the current administration has added nearly 13,000 kilometers of roads, a substantial increase. The Sector Minister, Francis Asenso Boache, reviewed this information during the induction of Frank Anodompre as the new chairman of the Road Fund Management Board.
This government has invested in road construction more than any other government, and it has upgraded the network substantially, in fact, 3 times more than the previous administration. It is on record that between 2009 to 2016, 4,636 kilometers were added to the network, road network. But since 2017 to date, 12,800 kilometers have been added to the network. So this is substantially way above what we've seen in the past. And that is why this board is very crucial, because once you know that that is the priority of the government, you have to understand that all your efforts as board members must be channeled toward realizing the objectives of the government.
Well, Francis Asenso Boache also announced the launch of a call center and maintenance app in the coming weeks to enable the public to report road defects for them to be addressed.
We are also aware of public concerns regarding potholes and related issues, road defects. So in the next coming days or weeks, the ministry intends to roll out a program where the public can report road defects through a call center and a maintenance app, with a view to letting the public participate in it, so that we have a system here that can also address these road defects. And that is one of the reasons why we are having this policy shift, so that we can have up to 60% of the road funds towards maintenance. So in the next week or two, this application will be launched, and the public will be very much involved in addressing road maintenance issues.
You had the Minister of Roads and Highways, Francis Asenso-Boakye, well, the newly inducted chairman of the Road Fund Management Board, Frank Anodompre, assured of the board's commitment to assist in addressing challenges confronting the road sector.
I don't have a magic wand, but what I can assure the Ghanaian people is that we are not going to take our work lightly, and it's not going to be business as usual. Again, we have a Minister of Finance who is one of our own. The work begins. We'll relate to him as we should, and we must get the oxygen to prosecute the work. That I want to assure the Honorable Minister that we will do that. And together with my board members, we'll give you all the needed cooperation. You have started a good job, and the least we can do as your board is to support you succeed. The innovative app that you are yet to launch, I can just imagine that it's going to be inundated with calls from all over the country. But rest assured, for how I've known you, I know we are going to scale this wall, and history will be made.
That was the chairman of the Road Fund Management Board, Frank Anodompre. Away from that, the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Martin Ejime-Sakosa, has complained about encroachment activities, which he says are hindering the reconstruction of the Adeona market, which was destroyed by fire some 4 years ago. Despite the challenge, the minister assured that a project fitted with a 2-story school building and a 40-seater toilet facility will be completed and commissioned by end of this month. The sector minister, Ejime-Sakosa, gave the assurance during his tour of the Adeona market today.
We can all see that there still remains a bit of work to be done. In the areas where we've toured, we realize that there are still some touches to be done, and then the walls surrounding the market, they are either non-existent or one side looks very weak, and it poses danger because they could fall as people crowd the place. We've seen that right in the space of the market, somebody has encroached and put up a building. And so I've agreed with the MC that it has to be pulled down to allow for us to have the land for the purpose of developing this market for the use of the community. Some people who are also doing some business and preventing the contractor from erecting the walls around it. We've asked that by close of today, some measures are taken to get them out so we can finish. This work has stalled for about 8 years, and we are determined to finish and hand over end of this month.
That was the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Martin Ejime-Sakosa. Now, the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa has announced its commitment to supporting the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, in the country. According to the president of the bank, His Excellency Dr. Sidi Ould-Tah, the bank has finalized a memorandum of understanding with the AfCFTA to establish a unified Africa trade facility. Speaking at a press briefing ahead of the bank's 50th anniversary in Africa and the launch of the Arab African Financial Institutions Consortium this Sunday, Dr. Sidi stated that this initiative aims to enhance financing for cross-border trade across the continent.
This facility is meant to support cross-border trade within the African continent, so African intra-trade. So if an exporter from an African country wants to export to another African country, but they are provide the financing at a very good rate to support and at good conditions to support the cross-border trade within Africa to increase the intra-trade among African countries. The second way, we are also supporting AfCFTA through capacity development grants to support all the players who are supposed to facilitate the trade in Africa, if through training, through establishment of digital platforms, through the feasibility studies, or any other means to support the acceleration of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Badria is already providing grants and will continue to provide more grants to support this type of activities.
You had the president of Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, His Excellency Dr. Sidi Aouta. And that does it for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. For more stories, please log on to citinewsroom.com. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domna. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.